is Valley News Live at 4.
We begin with breaking news. Fargo police are searching for a missing teen girl. They say 17-year-old Daisy Doctor ran away from home last night, last seen around midnight in the 400 block of 7th Street South in Fargo. Daisy is described as about 5'7", last seen wearing a tank top, black jeans, black and white sandals. She was also carrying a wheeled suitcase and multiple backpacks. Anyone who knows where Daisy might be is encouraged to call police. Here's a good picture of her here. New at 4, a Grand Forks man has been arrested after police say he tried to assault a woman in a bathroom at an East Grand Forks movie theater. Happened around 11 yesterday at River Cinema. According to court documents, the woman says she was at the mall using the bathroom before getting a massage when a man with his pants around his ankles grabbed her wrists, told her he had a knife, but she was able to fight him off. Police identified that man quickly as 37-year-old Jason Noyes of Grand Forks. He was arrested and charged with first-degree attempted sexual contact and faces extradition to East Grand Forks to appear in court. Police are also looking for a person who left a threatening message for Fargo school leaders this weekend. Quote, "Better red than dead" poster was left on the district office by a vandal in a mask and a hoodie. This comes just days after the school board voted to reinstate the Pledge of Allegiance before its board meetings. Already set in school, but this is for its board meetings after removing that, which brought local and national backlash. In a statement, school leaders say in part, Fargo Public Schools condemns this act of vandalism and attempt to install fear. We are working with authorities to investigate this act and ensure a safe workplace for our staff. All right, switching gears now, taking a look outside where it still feels like summer today. First Alert Storm Team meteorologist Nathan Hopper joins us with the details. Nathan.
Yeah, thanks, Justin. Happy Monday, everybody. Beautiful look from our Luther family Ford sky cam. A lot of sunshine, nice and warm out there this afternoon. Definitely a great way to start the latter part of August. But of course, temperatures, as we're saying, a big part of it, but with all the sunny skies, that's how we've been able to warm up so nicely here this afternoon. We do have a few clouds and maybe a few spits of rain there in portions of Otter Tail County, and also seeing a few areas where we could see some of that rain moving into portions of the north as well. So there's what we're seeing there. Otter Tail County, perhaps into Wadena County also. But this up here, moving out of Manitoba and Ontario, seeing some storms moving into Lake of the Woods County as we speak, right toward Lake of the Woods itself. You can see Badette may be in the path of these ones here in the not too distant future as those are moving into the United States of America. Not severe by American standards, at least at this point, but we'll keep our eyes on these for our friends up in Lake of the Woods County. There's those temperatures, 82 Fargo, 86 Grand Forks, Devil's Lake at 85, 86 in Langdon, so plenty of summer still out there this afternoon. Even seeing some upper 70s for our friends across Detroit Lakes and in toward Wadena. So just beautiful evening for us, and we stay mainly quiet for us in the Southern Valley this evening, of course. Watching up north for that chance of some showers and some rumbles. You see temperatures do cool pretty quickly if you've got those evening plans by 8 o'clock, mid-70s. And then once that sun sets, we do cool back into the 60s for us. And of course, Grand Forks, same story. Things staying pretty quiet out there and nice and comfortable for this evening after that sun sets. But Justin, of course, it's Monday. We got kind of an active pattern this week that we'll tell folks about coming up here in a few minutes.
Sounds good. Thanks, Nathan. No luck after a weekend-long search for a woman who went missing in a flash flood at Zion National Park in Utah. The National Park Service says the Tucson, Arizona woman disappeared Friday, and her brothers told media outlets that she cannot swim. Park officials say multiple hikers reported being swept off their feet Friday by flash flooding along the Virgin River. Meanwhile, we should plan to learn more this week about an FBI raid at Mar-a-Lago. The Justice Department has until Thursday to release a redacted version of their search affidavit. This week, lawyers for former President Trump plan to ask a judge to appoint a neutral party to review and possibly return evidence collected during the FBI's search. During that search, agents seized 11 sets of what they believe are classified documents, 4 sets labeled top secret. Months earlier, a Trump lawyer signed a document stating all those types of materials had been returned to the government. Meanwhile, media organizations have requested that affidavit be released in full. The judge has warned too many redactions could make the document essentially meaningless. There's been a rise in threats against federal law enforcement since Mar-a-Lago the search. Some members of Congress are also calling on social media companies to address the threats online and make sure platforms don't incite violence. Skylar Henry has details.
The leaders of 2 House panels sent these letters to 8 social media companies, demanding they address threats on their platforms against federal law enforcement officials. There's been a surge in calls for violence following the FBI's search.
I'd say in terms of volume, it absolutely is similar to what we saw in the lead up to January 6th.
Alex Friedfeld tracks extremism with the Anti-Defamation League.
So what are you noticing in terms of trends, whether they hashtag or just conversations, and does that rise to a level of concern for you and your team?
We are seeing widespread calls for civil war. There is this sense on the right that the time for politics is over and it is now the time for bullets.
Last week, authorities arrested 46-year-old Adam Bees, saying the Pennsylvania man threatened to kill FBI agents. The week before, Ricky Schiffer was killed after attempting to breach the FBI office in Cincinnati. Federal officials say the Ohio man posted a call to arms on former President Trump's social media site, Truth Social, and urged people to be ready for combat. Prior to breaching the FBI office, Schiffer wrote, "If you don't hear from me, it's true. I tried attacking the FBI." Last week, Trump posted about a great simmering anger, but other Republicans are distancing themselves from the tension.
It's completely wrong, right? It's completely wrong, but that's not where 99% of Republicans are at, of course.
House panel leaders have requested a response from the social media companies by September 2nd regarding the number of threats on their platforms and if they're reporting them to law enforcement. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
Meanwhile, the doctor who led the nation's efforts against COVID-19 says he'll soon retire. Dr. Anthony Fauci is expected to call it a career in December. He's currently the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease and the chief medical advisor to the president. He's worked in that role for 4 decades. New at 4. The numbers are in from Highway Patrol and the Cass County Sheriff's Office's sobriety checkpoint Saturday night. This is at the I-94 University Drive westbound off-ramp. 417 vehicles traveled through the checkpoint. 47 of those were screened. Of those 47, law enforcement made 4 DUI arrests, 8 drug violation citations, and 4 minors in possession violations. Several others were cited for having open containers or driving under suspension. About 15,000 Minnesota nurses are preparing to go on strike potentially as soon as this week. Meanwhile, traveling nurses are getting ready to fill in at hospitals in the Twin Cities and the Duluth area that may need help. Jennifer Hoff has details.
And then you can cast your vote.
On Monday, up to 15,000 members of the Minnesota Nurses Association voted to authorize a strike, and now the union leaders are still deciding when and if to call one, negotiating with hospitals for better pay and working conditions.
Our patients are sicker and more complex, and our nurses are taking care of more of them at one time than they used to.
Jill Eliason is a longtime nurse and is head of Travel Nurse Across America, a recruiting agency that finds travel nurses jobs.
What is a traveling nurse?
They get to move to different parts of the country and they stay for that short contract and then they go somewhere else.
Contracts can vary from 4 weeks to typically 13 weeks. And then there are agencies solely responsible for rapid response that relieves nurses specifically on strike.
They are recruited in the same manner as a traditional travel nurse, but it's much, much quicker.
So what is fast?
You know, generally these folks know when there's a strike brewing and they get ample notice. 3 weeks is fast.
Strike nurses are compensated well for their job that typically lasts a few days. Hospitals will also close certain units or stop certain elective procedures to avoid hiring more nurses. But ones Eliason says are all just as capable as the ones at your go-to hospital that in the case of a potential strike here would impact 7 major systems.
The majority of those nurses will be replaced with very qualified nurses who are used to going into a foreign setting and a foreign environment to still provide top patient care.
That's Jennifer Hoff reporting. Though they voted to go on strike last week, the nurses union is still discussing when exactly to put that plan into action. Today, state health leaders are sharing some updates on Minnesota's response to the monkeypox outbreak. They say there are a total of 87 cases statewide, almost all of those among men who've had sex with men. In North Dakota, the health department is reporting just 3 confirmed cases. Nationwide, there are more than 13,000, mostly in New York and California. While leaders expect those numbers to keep rising, health officials say scientists do know a lot more about monkeypox at this point in the outbreak than they knew, for comparison, about COVID back in early 2020. Story of tragedy and hope for cat lovers. A Minnesota kitten paralyzed in a dog attack is getting a second chance at life. 9-week-old Sweet Pea was going to be put down at a shelter in the Twin Cities until Mending Spirits Animal Rescue chose to take him in. He's now with a foster woman who says his disability doesn't slow him down. He gets around by sliding his hind legs or using his wheelchair that the woman made herself.
He's got a sad story, but I knew it wasn't over yet. He's very feisty and sweet, and I know there's a perfect family for him out there somewhere.
Pretty good with just 2 legs that are working. The vet says Sweet Pea may not need the wheelchair down the line. The search for his forever home is now underway. New at 4, the newest store in Fargo, Five Below, is opening next week, next Friday, September 2nd. The store is located at 1500 13th Avenue East. It's the former Dress Barn location. The store's trendy discount primary offers items less than $5. Happening tonight, it's the 4th annual Cops and Kids Back to School shopping event, happening in about 2 hours at Walmart on 55th Avenue South in Fargo. Provides back to school supplies, clothing, and shoes for kids in our communities, which also allows them to meet and visit with local law enforcement officers in a positive setting. We are excited to take you there. We'll bring you there live tonight on Valley News Live at 6. The newest COVID vaccine has been approved for children. We'll tell you why some health experts think this is the key to getting more people vaccinated.
And to look at our temperature trend the next 10 days shows us pretty much either side of normal, which is around 80 degrees. In fact, exactly 80 degrees today. Of course, with the ups and downs in temperatures, it does bring the chances of some showers and some rumbles. We'll break down your full forecast for the week next.